It's Monday. It's morning.
It's macabre.
Welcome to Monday Morning Macabre with Scones and Darcy, the podcast where we talk about spookies and scaries and all those types of things.
All of them.
Right at the top, couple of things I want to bring up. One, I hope everyone is alive and well and thriving in this wild time we live.
In a coronavirus world.
In a corona world.
COVID-19.
I hope everyone's doing well, because I know we got like an international set of people, and if you're from Italy listening, that's y'all like damn. You're in our thoughts.
And our thoughts. and our podcast shoutouts.
Yeah, you're in our podcast shoutouts and our thoughts. And also, second order of business I have to bring up is that my daughter will be here shortly.
Oh,
we got
Papa Darce.
I'm about to become old Papa Darce on the podcast. The 27th is technically the due date, but we are in the zone where it's just like, hey, it could be tomorrow. So
could be tomorrow.
Want to make sure we give a heads up on that, because there is a possibility that if she comes at like a time where the podcast is to be released or something like that, and there is some kind of delay, it's something that could happen. We will keep you updated, but
yeah,
we will try to make sure we have the content ahead of time to put out so you won't even notice, but I figure I should let it be known.
We got kids coming. We got pandemics.
Yeah, 2020 is a wild time. We got kids and pandemics.
I'm thinking about getting a fish.
Which
so
is
I'm basically
honestly the scariest of all.
It's a big responsibility, and it's going to change my life.
Yeah, we're going to see if he's fit to...
I might lose some of my edge. Yeah, I become soft.
What kind of fish would you get?
Whatever the easiest to take care of is.
Okay. All right. Well, with those things said, we can continue on to our normal scheduled spooky programming.
Get to the business at hand. We have I actually see a Sling and Dinger's representative. She's knocking on the glass telling us to get back to business.
Yeah,
enough of this fluff.
Enough fluff. Get straight to the tent.
Real slave drivers here.
So, and here we are. So, Scones is going to be presenting this spooky story today.
I am, and I have for you The Curse of Lake Lanier. Band, play us in.
Band, play us out.
Play us out or play us in?
Band, play us in. Can I get
play us out, play us back in again.
And then play us out one more time, and band, play us in. The Curse of Lake Lanier.
The Curse of Lake Lanier. Have you heard of Lake Lanier?
I have no idea where Lake Lanier is.
It is in the beautiful state of Georgia.
Georgia Peach.
Georgia, the United States state, not the country.
Yes, Georgia, the state in the United States. I've been to Georgia one time in college for spring break.
Lots of peaches?
No, we were in like a swampy campsite and it was awful. There's some mosquitoes everywhere and I hated it.
I have family in Georgia. Shout out. You know who you are.
Hey, shout out to Georgia family. And
it's beautiful down there.
But there were Waffle Houses. I've never been to a Waffle House. I went to Georgia.
Lots of Waffle Houses.
And I was like, this is my jam, bro.
I went to one and it sucked.
Hell yeah, bro.
I need to go to a good one apparently. Because people keep telling me how good it is. I also went at probably 10:30 at night.
That's prime waffle. Well, they probably get a lot of business between like the hours of like 6 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and like 10 to like 1 a.m.
And you get people in there like who clearly have no idea what year it is and are like yelling and like you're like, this guy's either just gonna be harmlessly screaming at nothing or something's gonna escalate real fast.
Or we're gonna have to call police like now.
Yeah.
So we're in Georgia.
Northern Georgia.
That's what the locals call it.
The foothills of North Georgia, which has like a pretty good sprawling community there.
Okay.
And this community would soon be taken over by Lake Lanier.
Lake Lanier's taken over the community.
So 1948, the U.S. government comes to town and they want to build a lake.
Damn. That's how
exactly.
You know,
they do want to build a
dam. That's how you know it's bad. Anytime the government's, hey, we're just going to come by and build something, you're like, this is some Stranger Things bullshit. You're going to make a goddamn science lab under this thing, and it's going to destroy everyone around here.
Two guys in suits get out of a black car.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're like in quarantine things already, like just full quarantine suits, and you're like, what are you building again? They're like, we just needed to make a farm. Don't worry about it. You're never allowed in.
And so they buy the first purchase towards the lake was a 100-acre farm from from an 81-year-old old ferry driver, Henry Shadburn.
I literally called it. They come in, full quarantine, buy a farm, and then something bad happens.
And I don't know how the price relates, but they bought it for $4,500.
They bought
100-acre farm.
What year was this?
1948, so maybe that translates.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Either that or they ripped him off. I don't know, but he's 81, so
$4,500. Damn,
right,
for 100 acres.
And so they're looking to dam the Chattahoochee River.
Okay,
for the purpose of providing the city of Atlanta with hydroelectricity, flood control, and water supply,
and making a Cthulhu/Kraken.
It's definitely more fun to think of it like that.
Okay, so they're making a dam, supposedly.
Yes, and so they start buying up land where the lake's going to flood. But a lot of people said no. And there's like rumors and reports, unconfirmed, but I would definitely buy it.
All commit suicide.
All found with white Nikes. No, they
all killed themselves with two gunshot wounds to the back of the head.
Went ahead with the project even if you didn't sell them the land, or were just like forcing people out of the land.
Yeah, they're
by
strong-arming
flooding it out, essentially.
Oh, nice. Thanks, government. Cool.
So the dam would be would be completed in 1956 and would begin the process of flooding the foothills to create this lake.
Wait. Oh, okay. So it's a man-made lake.
Yes, named after Sidney Lanier, a famous poet from Georgia.
Now, why are they making what is the purpose of making this lake?
For hydroelectricity and water supply for Atlanta.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're trying to help out Atlanta by destroying the local community and flooding it.
But lots of stuff goes wrong.
I like that.
Funding for the project faced a bunch of hurdles, which stopped and started construction at the point where it was amazed it actually even finished. Additionally, the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as the states that use the river basin, like Alabama and Florida, and
Alabama again.
Yeah, why does it say
Alabama double dipped?
Alabama and Florida all squabbled over how the water was going to flow, because it's obviously going to cut off downriver and stuff like that.
Sure.
So lots of lawsuits, and juggling happened, along with people at like entire human structures and like towns and houses being completely flooded. And now you can there's pictures of people like scuba diving down there. It's just like a town underwater.
Oh, that's super creepy.
It's super creepy.
You can they didn't even destroy the houses or anything. They just fucking
flooded them out.
Just fill it up.
Now it's only inhabited by fish and possibly ghosts.
Ghosts? Oh, underwater ghosts, dude.
Lots of tales of ghosts started to pop up because in rural areas of much of the United States, especially in the early 20th century, cemeteries are not formal pieces of land. People just build them on their property.
Oh, so just skeletons.
So a lot of bodies and graves get flooded out and raised and stuff like that.
That's it's insane to me that they weren't like, okay, we're going to find out what we're going to flood. We'll be like, hey, do you have is there anything you need to tell us about this land? / we should clear probably the land before we just fill it with water and then make this fucking lake. And everyone's like, nah.
Yeah, essentially it's just like Army Corps engineers like, I hear you, but we're going to do it.
I love what you're saying. I love the spirit of it, but it's really interesting.
Kiddo, keep up the enthusiasm.
Yeah. We'll put it on the fridge and then flood the fridge, and your grandpappy from the backyard's coming back to life.
Definitely going to get that on the route up to bringing up the ladder, but
yeah, right.
Construction already started. So, lots of legends and myths and sightings start to happen.
Sightings, legends, and myths are like my 3 favorite things.
And not only this, but a curse.
A curse.
An unusual amount of people have died in the lake. In fact, 675 confirmed deaths since 1950.
675 in the one. How big is the lake? Do we know like the square footage or like you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's 3 feet wide. 675 deaths.
They're just face down. I think close to 50,000 acres of land was bought for it. And at points, it's 90 feet deep.
Ooh. We deep and wide, boy. Old lake deep and wide.
A lot of the stories of people drowning are boats crashing into something and capsizing. And then when you'd go back to look at what they hit so they could put up a buoy, there's nothing that the boat should have hit.
Probably a giant monster or
could be a monster or a ghost.
Or a ghost.
Also, lots of people seem to lose control of their vehicles for no reason and drive them into the lake.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of people driving into this lake. Bunch of boats crashing into mysterious objects that can't be found later. Why would you just flood houses? It was probably a chimney or some shit.
Because this is middle 20th century U.S. government. They don't give a shit about anything. They're like, MK Ultra, flooding lakes, nuclear missiles. Like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, we don't care about anybody. It's wild. Let's go.
We're going to just start some coups and drown some towns. That's the government way.
Yeah, it's like, all right, sitting at a table, just throwing back scotch, and they're just like, all right, we're going to flood a lake and fill it with Russian secrets.
Yeah, it's like an evil lair with a huge fireplace, and they're like, and the best part of all, the taxpayers will pay for all of it.
That's a very sad
and they're like
reality.
There.
It's a really sad reality that's probably just happening still to this day, but
probably.
Okay, so we got people flying, dying, burning, not burning, but drowning.
And a lot of people that swim in it drown. As part of that
I would not be
675
swimming
town.
If someone was like, hey, that lake just full of people, that doesn't seem safe to swim in at all.
A lot of the drowning cases are odd in that they happen close to shore and the people are strong swimmers and they're in calm conditions.
Oh.
Considering the history of the lake have given rise to rumors.
Hands coming out of the water and dragging them to the bottom.
People who have drowned here and lived to tell the tale have told of feelings as if they're being pulled underwater or held by unseen hands.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Or having the air suddenly leave their lungs in exhaustion and startling suddenness.
Dude, I'm telling you, they made an underwater laboratory where they're building ghost robot army soldiers. I'm positive. There's probably a number station down there. There's probably all sorts. It's probably like every single thing we've talked about, they just threw into a lake.
In 2011, the menacing reputation for accidents and deaths began to get more public attention when there was a total of 17 deaths in 1 year on Lake Lanier.
Jesus Christ.
1 year on Lake Lanier.
1 year at Lake Lanier, 17
A lot
kids.
of them were complete accidents. Freak accidents, you might say.
Bum, bum, bum.
In 2012, the trend continued when a quick succession of violent deaths and horrific injuries occurred here and made national news.
What kind of violence we talking, though? Like,
Well, the first death.
Oh, give me.
June 18th, 2012. 9-year-old Jake Prince and his brother Griffin, 13, were riding a pontoon out on the lake and were struck and killed by a speedboat.
Were they with someone else, or were they driving a pontoon?
They were driving a pontoon.
A 13 and a 9-year-old were just whipping a pontoon?
I don't know. I think it's like just backwoods stuff, man. You grow up fast.
Jesus Christ. Okay, and they got hit by a speedboat.
Speedboat driven by a business owner.
Driven by a
Paul
skeletal pirate ghost.
Strikes them and kills them. Mere weeks after the tragic accident, July 9th, 11-year-old Kyle Glover, he was the son of a popular pop star Usher's ex-wife, Tamika Foster.
Whoa.
Was struck while riding an inner tube by a family acquaintance who was riding a jet ski, and he was rendered brain dead in the hospital.
Jesus Christ.
Doctors struggled to save his life, but he died 2 weeks later.
I'm just thinking of like the lake from Us. Not Us. Was that the movie Us? What was the movie? What was Jordan Peele's second? What was that called? Is it Us?
It is Us,
okay,
with the alternate versions of them.
And on like that lake. I'm just thinking of that lake this entire time.
Probably. One of the most notorious deaths of Lake Lanier.
Elvis Presley.
1958. A young woman working for the Riverside Military Academy named Delia Young and her friend Susie Roberts are heading to Three Gables in Dawsonville in her 1954 Ford pickup truck for a night out. They would never return.
They went straight to the lake.
This guy,
I'm too smart, dude.
Hey, let's clean up the podcast. It's
connect
over.
the dots. What can I say? That's why they keep me around.
A subsequent investigation into their disappearance discovered that they had visited a gas station and left without paying. Strange.
Weird.
The only clue left at the scene was skid marks across the road, which seemed to suggest the car had skidded off Lanier Bridge, which obviously goes over the lake,
Yep.
and into the lake.
Oof.
Yet no vehicle was ever found, or could be found.
So they didn't find the car, although there's also homes and shit at the bottom of this lake. So I'm not like doesn't blow my mind.
Divers who were brought in to search for the car could not find it because of the visibility of the murky water. 18 months, police were unable to find any clues and no trace of the missing women or their car. But then a fisherman named C.A. Simpson. That's a sick name.
C.A. Simpson.
We always come across people
we need
with...
to write down like these best like, detective names because we keep coming across so many of them.
Yeah, the first two letters and then your last name.
Yeah, that's the way to do.
Such a good way to go by. I feel like it's a southern thing too.
C.W. Scones.
That'd be sick. made a gruesome discovery. Simpson did, the fisherman.
Yeah.
He found a decomposed body floated up out of the depths. The corpse, which was not identified, had missing toes and no hands.
Ooh, that's weird.
Very weird. The toes I can see could be eaten by fish, but the hands completely being gone and not, like the rest of the body not being in that bad of shape.
Yeah, that is weird.
There's no way of knowing who the corpse was, and it was buried in an unmarked grave.
Now they didn't just assume this is one of the people in the car?
You can't just assume.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
But if
it's unmarked because you can't officially identify it as one of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then no one would find the car for decades.
Oh, but it gets found.
In 1990.
Oh, shoot.
Almost 32 years later.
Damn. Dude, I wonder what the resale value is in that bad boy.
They were constructing an expansion of the bridge. Construction crews were dredging the bottom of the lake, and they found the hulk of a 1954 Ford.
Ooh. What's in there?
In it held the remains of a human body.
Okay.
The car had been hidden within tree trunks, mud, and detritus in 90 feet deep of water.
Jesus Christ.
The body was decomposed, and it could not be identified except by the purse, rings, and watch, which could conclusively link it to be Susie Roberts.
Susie Roberts.
In light of this discovery, authorities conclude that the other body that was found decades earlier was most likely Delia Young.
Are we sure this isn't how Susie Q died?
Susie Q? Who's Susie Q?
Remember Susie Q, the Disney Channel movie from the 90s?
Let's watch a Disney Channel movie.
She drove off a bridge and died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they ever find her body?
Well, she became like a ghost in the movie. So I think they found the body, but anyway.
Funny you should say that.
In 1994, the Disney Channel original movie Halloween Town was filmed at the bottom of Lake Lanier.
The entire set was underwater.
Underwater.
It was a movie-making marvel. The special effects were unseen.
Unrivaled to this day. They don't know how they did it. That's what the government was making at the bottom.
Did not
of
win
Lake.
the Oscar somehow. This case has spawned a lot of local legends.
I bet.
The main one being the Lady of Lake Lanier.
Oh, Lady of Lake Lanier. LL of LL.
Lots of people have reported to see a woman walking along the bridge.
Ooh, where she got
of Lake Lanier.
So
in a blue dress.
Oh, so she might have been like, oh no, lady, skeet skirt into the water. They both die back in the day.
One thing that can link them all, the people who saw the ghost, whether they knew about the case or not, all had one common trait. It had no hands.
Whoa. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So we're thinking ghost of Delia, whatever her name was.
W.
Of HW. Of that girl. The one without the hands.
Yes.
So we're thinking ghost of that lady.
Yes.
That's wild.
There's also a local legend that fishermen say that there's a gigantic catfish that lives in the lake.
That's such a fisherman-like legend.
It's huge.
Like, bro, there's this giant catfish. I swear to God, kid.
It's about 7 feet long.
Nice.
Has eaten multiple dogs of fishermen and even attacks divers. These giant catfish are said to be particularly attracted.
There's multiple.
Apparently, there's multiple. They like the deep waters below the Beaufort Dam, and there are various accounts from divers working in the area to examine the dam or fix bridges in the area that have seen these huge catfish.
Giant catfish.
Many of the divers refuse to go back into the water because they actually fear for their life from the catfish. The most popular story concerning this giant catfish concerns a truck carrying live chickens, which supposedly hurtled off the Thompson Bridge because everyone in this area...
Everyone can't drive over this bridge.
No, that's literally, dude, like, that's one of the biggest, like, weird parts is how people just lose control of their cars in this area. Which, like, obviously people say, like, forces drag you into the lake.
Right.
It sank to the bottom with its cargo of live chickens. They were sent to examine the wreckage, and their horror found catfish the size of 12-year-old boys.
They did find giant catfish.
Yes.
So the fishermen are right. Yo, believe fishermen. I take it back. Every time it's a fisherman in like a horror movie, he's like, I don't think you want to go down
When they found
there.
it, they found all the catfish engaging in a feeding frenzy, swallowing all of the chickens that went down with the truck.
Jesus Christ.
Other stories have described fishermen hooking into enormous fish and having their boats towed around the lake. It is unclear whether these reports of giant catfish are true exaggerations or pure urban legend, but it's certain enough that divers are actually afraid to get into this water because of these giant catfish.
Giant catfish. Could you imagine getting eaten alive by a 7-foot catfish?
That would suck.
That'd be such a
That's
shitty
not the way I want to
Yeah,
go
no.
out.
That is a big yikes.
And like those divers that go down to like fix bridges and stuff, they make a shit ton of money. So if they're not willing to go, like underwater welders and construction, since it's so dangerous, the hazard pay is like insane.
Yeah.
So if they're willing to give up that paycheck to do something that's already dangerous because of giant catfish.
Like the wife of a diver, the divers come to her house, knock on her door, and they're like, "We have bad news." And she's like, "Did he drown?" And they're like, "Catfish got him." Like, damn catfish got another one.
Too many good men.
Dude, we gotta make a documentary on these catfish. The catfish of Lanier. Dude, desperate catfish of Lake Lanier. I'd watch it.
That sounds like a Discovery Channel show. After Alaskan bush people, it's
desperate catfish of Lake Lanier. Just like side interviews of just a fucking catfish. Well, he looked great down there as a scuba diving welder. And
look, just because we're big doesn't mean we're mean.
Okay.
All right?
We get a real bad rap down here.
They weren't going to use the chicken.
The closest thing I've ever had to a chicken tender.
All right.
Anyway.
Enough games. On to my favorite.
Ooh, yeah, let's go.
There's like a bunch more cases in Lake Lanier.
I want to hear
on to my
top
favorite
hit me
local legend of Lake Lanier.
Do it.
Other than mysterious forces pulling swimmers underwater or capsizing boats, they're not the only case of paranormal happenings. There is also a ghost raft.
A ghost raft? Or a ghost raft like a giraffe ghost?
That'd be way cooler.
A ghost raft.
It's a ghost raft.
A ghost
On this raft is a mysterious, hooded, shadowy figure pushing it along with a gondola pole.
With a gondola pole?
You know, like the big poles you stick in the water?
Yeah, like literally the river Styx.
Yes.
Okay.
And also has a lantern on it to fit the whole aesthetic.
Sick. Yeah, they got the whole creepy raft aesthetic.
And this ferryman appears and disappears without warning.
Ooh, I like it. Fog rolling around.
So the most famous story was the account by two fishermen. They were out fishing at 1 a.m., doing some night fishing for some giant-ass catfish.
For some big catfish.
They saw in the distance a ghostly raft with a lantern.
Ooh.
It was a cold morning in autumn. The mysterious raft was a half a mile away from them and was in 45 feet of water.
Okay.
But that's one of the spooky parts. He's pushing along a pole in 45 feet of water.
Oh, yeah, true. It's not like a paddle. Like he's got a 50-foot long pole.
Yeah, it's just sticking way down there.
That made this from a creepy raft to like kind of humorous. How long this pole would have to be.
Yeah, it's like one of the memes where you just spread out.
Yeah,
it zooms out and it's just way down there. Yet, at one point, the figure turned and looked at the fisherman.
Ooh.
It then shouted something that they couldn't tell what it was saying.
Yeah.
It then jumped off the raft to swim towards them.
Oh, I hate that.
The two fishermen, scared as fuck,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
start to pull in their lines as fast as they can and get the boat ready to get the fuck out of there because they're not sure what's going on. And they thought that this was an insane person driving a raft with a lantern who's swimming towards them.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Is at this point that the fishermen look up and the lantern on the raft goes out.
Ooh.
Complete darkness.
That's not good.
The fishermen scramble about to get their spotlight because they have no idea where this guy is now, who's coming towards them.
A lunatic speeding towards them in like a...
They get the light, they shine it out across the water, and there's no sign of the raft, the mysterious occupant, or jumped into the water. In fact, the lake was so calm that there was no possible way someone jumped into it and was swimming towards them. And the raft did not appear again that night.
Dude, that's when you just peace out. I'm like, all right, I'm done being a fisherman. I'm going to change occupations. That is super freaky.
A lot of people have claimed to see the ferryman, and they say that it's a ghost formed from the old history of Lake Chattahoochee, which had a lot of ferrymen that would take people across the lake.
Yeah.
They say that flooding it, since there's not really a ferry service there anymore, that's like the ghost of that era.
That's some spooky stuff.
There's also just way more deaths, and they span all the way from 2018 back to the 60s and 70s. Like,
Jesus,
people
so just
are constantly dying in this lake, and it's an insane amount of people. That's way higher than
comparatively to other lakes.
It
does not make any sense.
Especially the weird part is unexplained. Like when they get the bodies back, it seems to be unexplained as to why
what
they
killed them?
drowned. Why, when you look at scenes where they went off the bridge, why a car would suddenly spin off.
Right.
Like there's rails, there's reflective lights, there's everything proper, but cars are just losing control and driving into the lake. I mean, you can, I guess, chalk it up to like alcoholism on a lake, because
I mean,
people like to drink and hang out by water.
But like, why? Why is everyone getting wasted and then going straight to a bridge? They're just like,
a lot of people have theories that this could be a dumping place for some kind of crime organization, like a local motorcycle. I don't know. I don't know what's there, but like they just throw stuff in the lake, or
that makes sense.
Kill people, then drive their cars into the lake.
That I can get behind.
But yeah, that's the curse of Lake Lanier.
The Curse of Lake Lanier. That is anything that has to do with spooky ferrymen, I'm in. I like the idea of the gang / mafia / organized crime organization throwing bodies into the lake.
Yeah, I just don't know what organized crimes in the northern foothills of Georgia. I feel like it'd be like a motorcycle gang, or the rural organized crimes.
That's valid. I also don't know.
Or like moonshiners.
Are they,
I'm trying to think of rural organized crime, and those are the only two forms of it I can think of.
Yeah, it's like one farmer v another farmer, and that's Hatfield and McCoy still around. I don't know.
That and some big ass catfish.
Yeah, that's insane. I still can't believe they just flooded without like removing anything. They're just like, just fill it up.
Yeah, so it's other than obviously the giant catfish, I think it's a kind of a popular scuba diving destination, because you can go down there and like see 19, early 20th century like building society down there.
How can you? I wonder. There must be laws at this point that are like, you can't just fucking do that.
Probably, yeah.
I'd have to assume.
But I mean, even when there aren't laws, people are dying clearly. So
true.
Like. That's, I think, one of the eerie parts is how boats are hitting things that aren't there.
Yeah.
Or are capsizing for no reason. And on like a lake, there's not really...
It should be calm and not like crazy. Like
it's not like the ocean. Like,
right. Yeah, you're not getting like swept up by a giant wave and then tossed under. Like, yeah. It's just...
There are reports of rogue waves happening, which is also creepy.
That is creepy.
That a wave would come out of nowhere on a lake, sink your boat, and then just like never happen again.
Interesting. Lake Lanier. If anyone in Georgia near Lake Lanier, shoot us a DM or something. I'm interested in this location. I think that hearing from locals would be pretty interesting.
It would be interesting.
If you guys are out there, hit us up. Hit us up on our socials.
Yeah. What are our socials, Darce? List them off.
I'm glad you asked.
What a segue.
Yeah. Hit us up on Instagram at Monday Morning Macabre, on Twitter at MMMacabrePod, and also you can reach us via our contact form on our website, www.mondaymorningmacabre.com. We'll have the show up there with some pics and all your favorite other spooky tales. Please review, rate, share with your friends.
Yeah, rating and review goes a whole way in the podcast game, we're finding out. So that's awesome if you're doing that.
If you're leaving written reviews, it boosts our like viewership, like our outreach on the platforms. The algorithms are going to be kind
to us. A
little behind the scenes, but yeah, the algorithms help out with that. So we appreciate everyone who's dropping 5-star reviews and leaving written reviews and all that good stuff. Thank you very much to you guys. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
It's
Spread Monday Morning Macabre, not coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Spread Monday Morning Macabre and have a good Monday.
Have a good Monday and watch out for catfish.
Boy.
Boy.